Welcome back to Storytime with Karen and Kevin. I'm your host, Karen Monroe. Today we are reading stories from various subreddits, including r/AmITheAsshole, r/PettyRevenge, and r/entitledparents. Our first story was posted by Elijah2022XX. Am I the asshole for telling my brother's girlfriend that it was weird for her to keep an urn of her late husband's ashes in the house? Okay, so this happened last night, while me, male 23, and my female were visiting my brother's, male 30, girlfriend's, female 30, house for the first time. We were all sitting at the dinner table, and I remembered when my brother's girlfriend, who's a widow, saying that she keeps an urn for her late husband's ashes in the house. Conversation led from one thing to another. Then I looked at my brother and asked him quietly if he was comfortable with having his girlfriend's late husband's urn in the house. He gave me a long stare, so I figured the answer was yes, but maybe he couldn't tell his girlfriend about it, fearing she'd misunderstand maybe? So I brought it up with her and told her it was quite weird to have her late husband's urn in the house. She looked at me and was apparently caught off guard by what I said. She said that she didn't think so, and that it wasn't like the urn was on display. She also said this is her late husband's house, and where the urns should be. I told her it felt weird, especially since she just had my brother move in with her, and he must be feeling uncomfortable with the idea. His girlfriend looked upset and got quiet. My brother shouted, "None of your damn business! Shut your mouth, Elijah! Jesus!" I responded with, personally, I wouldn't be cool with my girlfriend keeping an urn of her ex within close approximation. At best, it'd make me feel uncomfortable. At worst, it'd make me feel creeped out. His girlfriend then replied by saying that I have no business dating a widow. Then I shrugged. She excused herself to the kitchen and stayed there. My brother went off on me for calling me an obnoxious asshole, for making dinner awkward and upsetting his girlfriend. I told him I was just giving my opinion, but he lashed out more. My parents and I left, and they told me my brother's girlfriend was being hypersensitive, but I too went too far and upset my brother and probably sparked an argument between them, and I should reach out to apologize, but I'm not sure. Edit. Guys, please, one thing you should know is that I had no intentions of being hurtful. I do not hate my brother's girlfriend. In fact, we get along pretty well, but I just wanted to add that I had no malicious intent here. I'm not the type of guy who will go out of their way to act maliciously, but I feel kind of guilty for how the situation played out. Edit 2. My parents are the ones who said she was being hypersensitive, not me. Edit 3. Yes, I overheard my brother venting about the urn when he first moved in, just so you know. Okay, OP, I get where you're coming from, in that it's kinda weird, but I can also see your brother's girlfriend's side too. She lost her husband. That's not something you just get over and move on completely from. He was obviously a huge part of her life, and in some ways will always be a part of her, regardless of the fact she's dating someone new. Honestly, your brother would be a jerk if he asked her to get rid of those ashes. Within reason, of course. I think you owe them an apology. It hurts enough already to lose someone. She didn't need your commentary on top of that. Our next story is from r/PettyRevenge. Posted by BYU/ I don't know what the fuck this name is. You locked my toddler in a closet. Enjoy the feeling of a much lighter pocketbook and roasting in the summer heat. Oh, you didn't like that grass, right? In the height of the summer and in the deep south of the USA, there were 3 siblings, 3 female, me, 6 female, and 8 male, and their mom, 28 female. Mom had to take my sister to a last-minute doctor's appointment, so she left my brother and me with a trusted neighbor across the street, 28 female. Let's call her Barb. I was a sickly kid with separation anxiety, so I started crying after Mom left. When Barb couldn't get me to stop, she locked me in the hall closet with the light off until I calmed down. According to my brother, it was a full episode of Blue's Clues before I was let out. By the time Mom got back, he was watching TV and I was napping like nothing was amiss. She didn't think anything was wrong until my brother told her what had happened after we got home. Now, Mom was a non-confrontational person, but she was spiteful and vindictive AF. She stewed for a day or two before coming to a boil. In the dark of the early morning, she snuck over to Barb's, opened the control panel on the side of the house, and turned off the AC. In the sweltering heat of that afternoon, Barb called Mom, not knowing she was pissed, to complain that she had to pay $150 to have someone come fix the AC. The repairman didn't tell her it was just switched off. Their lack of integrity made this revenge so much better when Mom decided to do the same thing the next night. It was music to Mom's ears when Barb called again to complain that she had to shell out another $150 to the same repairman who still didn't tell her it wasn't broken. When Barb's AC broke for the third day in a row, she decided to call a different repairman who happened to be a little more morally inclined. Barb was incensed when she called Mom with this news. Who would do such a thing? After Barb wised up and bought a lock for the control panel, Mom couldn't continue that punishment. She didn't feel like Barb had suffered enough, though. This horrid woman locked Mom's 3-year-old in the dark, which she was terrified of, and let her cry herself into exhaustion. Mom needed something that would last. Much of the southern USA has a hard time keeping their lawns green and healthy. It takes water and effort to maintain. Barb put a lot of water and a lot of effort into her yard. It was with great relish that Mom went out on the 4th morning and poured bleach all over Barb's beautiful green grass. From the moment the sun warmed Barb's lawn that summer until the grass died that fall, the whole neighborhood saw Mom's handiwork. Call Barb a bitch from her own front yard. Edit. Since a lot of you are asking, Barb never knew who did it. Mom enjoyed the secret satisfaction of keeping Barb in the dark. Their family only lived in that house for another year or so anyway, and we haven't had contact with them in more than 20 years. Your mom is a savage OP. Like, how did she come up with that kind of revenge? I will say though, I think it would have had a better impact if your mom actually talked to her, instead of wreaking havoc on her AC and lawn. Like, that woman needs to know it is 100% not okay to lock a child in a closet when they're upset. She learned nothing from the revenge your mom made, so it kinda defeats the purpose in a way. Our next post is from r/entitledparents. Posted by Snail Dancer. Entitled mom gets mad because 1 week post-op me won't give her my seat. I had a fairly major surgery last year. My doctor had me come in a week after my surgery because I was having vomiting and more fatigue than is normal a week out. I couldn't walk from my room to the bathroom without a break, and I live in a tiny shoebox. I had to take the bus because I didn't trust myself to drive yet. On my way back from my appointment, it's rush hour, but seeing as I got on at the hospital and limped onto the bus, some kind dude gave me his seat, which happened to be in the priority section. A few stops later, a mom and I guess a 1-year-old came in. She looks at me and here's the conversation. Entitled mom. Can me and my son have that seat? Me, sorry, I just had surgery and I'm still really sick. Entitled mom. Well, this is priority seating for the parents, the disabled, and the elderly. Me, I literally cannot stand. Entitled mom. You can, you just won't. I put my earbuds in at this point, and she goes on a rant about young people having no respect until the bus driver says shut up and sit down. She gave me dirty looks the whole ride. I feel like I hear so many stories about rude people on public transportation. It's kind of insane. You definitely had every right to sit through OP, as it seems like the mom and child were perfectly capable of standing. Don't let the Karens get to ya. Our next story is from r/Am I the Asshole? Posted by Pertus V. Am I the asshole for being openly hostile towards my sister and telling on her, thus potentially making her husband lose custody of his children? I'm not going to be shy about this. My sister sucks. She is a horrible, self-centered person who thinks she is the main character. She is not only a horrible person, she is a step monster. She married this guy who is a freaking pushover 3 years ago. He has 2 children, 10 and 6. My sister constantly complains about them, saying things like the 6-year-old is gross because he sips too loud or has stained clothing. For the love of God, he is 6. That's what a child is supposed to do. And she is so mean to the 10-year-old girl. She acts straight out jealous of her. I've caught her taunting her that daddy loves my sister more than her. She is horrible. I have straight up called her out after trying to talk to her like a million times. At Christmas, she was saying that it'd be nice to have the kids there, and I said, why? You hate them. This was when everything was almost over and she had been bragging to her friends that her husband had spent more on her than on his own daughter. A fight ensued. My parents reprimanded me, but my cousins took my side and called her out, noting every moment that they had witnessed with her being horrible. Her husband obviously took her side and said that she was a wonderful stepmother and that the kids love her. To which I said that was a lie, as I had consoled them countless times after they were taunted by my sister. They left, and we haven't talked since. One day, I was running errands and ran into my stepnephews who were with their mother. I had never met her, and honestly, she is wonderful. We decided to have some coffee. While the kids were playing, she asked me how her children behaved, etc. I said they were wonderful, and then I just spilled the beans on my sister. How awful she was, what I've heard her say to the kids, the inaction of her ex-husband. By the end, she was horrified. She said the kids didn't like her, but she always chucked it up to my sister being the new woman in the father's life. She said the kids never really said anything, even when she asked. I then told her I was very concerned for the children, as my sister had straight up told the 10-year-old that it would be better if she disappeared from her father's life. Their mother saw red and asked me if I'd be willing to testify. She said that this was unacceptable and she would be taking their father to court again. I said I would recount the events that I witnessed and could ask my cousins who witnessed a lot too. She was very grateful. I asked my cousins who were all willing to recount the events. Word got around to my parents and, by extension, my sister. And they have been calling me the biggest asshole on the planet who would betray family on a whim. Am I the asshole? OP, I think you did the right thing. Those kids deserve better. You and everyone around you knows it. At the very least, you can hope things will change since they have been reported. I would hate to be in your situation. It's not easy, but it is what needs to be done. Our next post is from r/Am I the Asshole? Posted by Throwaway68. Am I the asshole for telling my wife that I wasn't going to change my daughter's diapers? Me and my wife have been together for 6 years and have a 1.5-year-old daughter. My daughter drinks milk on the regular basis. 2 weeks ago, she started getting explosive diarrhea, the one where it soaks through her clothes and diaper. I told my wife that I felt like our daughter might be lactose intolerant. My wife refused to listen and still gave her milk. Again, she had explosive diarrhea, and my wife was confused on what was going on. She was convinced she just had a stomach virus. This went on for a few days with me constantly telling my wife not to give our daughter milk. She would ignore me and tell me I was wrong. Yesterday, my daughter stayed with me instead of going to her nanny. I wanted to test my theory and gave her no dairy products, and behold, she pooped normally. I told my wife and she didn't believe me. I went to go get dinner yesterday, and when I came back, she gave her daughter a bottle of milk. I asked why she gave her a bottle. She said she asked for one. I told her that I was not going to change her diaper since she pooped because she's lactose intolerant, but she doesn't believe me. She asked how she became lactose intolerant out of nowhere, and that I was just trying to get out of changing diapers. I told her, no, I'm telling you what's the problem, and you're not listening. I'm always changing her diaper. She tells me to grow up and to do my dad responsibilities. I don't think it's fair. Am I the asshole? Edit. I made an appointment and she's going to see a pediatrician on Friday. Another edit. This whole sub is biased as hell. Update. She turned out to be lactose intolerant. Also, the 2 weeks of diarrhea most likely had to do with getting a stomach bug from her cousin the week prior. I agree with Reddit. Everyone is kind of the asshole here. I think I side a little more with you, OP. Your wife should have listened to you when you said you thought your daughter was lactose intolerant. However, no matter what, it's both you and your wife's kid, and she needs to be taken care of, even if you're feeling spiteful. I do hope things improve for you and her, OP. Our next post is from r/Am I the Asshole? Posted by Throwaway Dog Name 0. Am I the asshole for giving my dog an offensive name and then refusing to change it? I have several dogs, one of which is an American Akita. His name is Yankee. I thought it was funny, and he seemed to like his name. My sister was in the States the past 2 years, and recently flew home with her boyfriend in tow. First time we met him, yada yada. I guess she never mentioned to me or my dogs, but he was pretty surprised when I told him my dog's name. I didn't think much of it. Most of my pets have peculiar names, so I assumed it was just an overall reaction. They left. My partner and I had dinner. Partway through our food, my sister called and asked if I'd consider changing my dog's name. I kind of thought she was kidding, but she reiterated that she was serious. The name Yankee had upset her boyfriend quite badly, and he found it offensive. I basically told her to fuck off and tell him to grow up before going back to my food. The following day, they literally show up at my door. I was kind of taken aback. Apparently, they came to tell me why they thought the name Yankee was so awful. During this discussion, he told me it was essentially a slur used against Americans and asked if I would ever name a dog the N-word. I just kind of laughed and told him he was off his nuts. It's not that serious. You can't equate the word Yankee to something like the N-word. I told him I wasn't going to change my dog's name. He knows it. It'd be a ton of work. He's in personal protection, so it could even damage his work. They thankfully left, but still seem pretty upset. Thinking back now, I'm pretty sure there's a company with Yankee in the name. I wonder how many letters of complaint he sent. Anyway, I did message my American friends just to make sure I wasn't being a prick. They all agreed he was being stupid, but I know in the US it's huge and it might be more of a regional thing, so I'm still not entirely sure. I'm starting to feel kind of asshole-ish for not taking him seriously when it may have been a genuine issue for him. So I come to Reddit, 2 birds, 1 stone. I know a large amount of Americans frequent this subreddit. Am I the asshole, and is this an issue in the States that I should apologize for? ETA, I had a shower at 70 comments and now we're nearly at 1,000. I can't keep up with them. I'm sorry. Anyway, I think he's from the South and my sister's a Tory, so he's more than likely a Republican. Oh my gosh, OP, this is honestly comical. Being from the US, Yankees, it's a fine name. I mean, there's a candle company and a baseball team with that name. Your sister and her husband need to chill out. Give them some solid evidence you didn't choose some slur of a name for your pet. If you like our content, please subscribe and hit that notification bell. You can also listen to us wherever podcasts are streamed.